By the way, there's a secret sauce in all of this, which all the pros use and very few people talk about it, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vic Barry, how you doing? Now, I haven't been here for, in fact, you know what? This has been probably the longest time where I haven't uploaded a video. And I'm not going to get into why that is here, but if you're on the community section on this YouTube channel, and you should be if you're not, then I've left a little bit of a post there explaining where I've been and what's going on and all that kind of thing. But anyway, all that aside, right? Today's video is going to be something that if you're a pro, if you're new, if you're a beginner, you're going to get some serious hints and tips here when it comes to editing your photos and making them pop and just taking them to the next level. Not with a desktop, not with a laptop, with your phone. Believe it or not, your phone is one of the most powerful editing tools, and let's get right into this. I'm using Adobe Lightroom, which is my go-to mobile editing app. I'm not affiliated with Adobe. I'm a Creative Cloud subscriber, paid up and all that jazz. First thing here, right, and this is the first thing. This was shot on the Sony ZV-E10. I've dumped it onto the phone. This is the raw file. That aside, I'm pressing auto. So once we press auto, we get what Adobe Lightroom thinks might look pretty good. And as you can see, the before and after looks pretty good. Now, how do we take this to the next level? How do we get a little bit more separation, a little bit more depth? And here's the first big tip here. And please do not be afraid of the following word, because it's complicated sounding. What it does is complicated, but now it's super easy. Anybody can do this. I'm talking about masking. So masking is where you'd kind of cut out an element, or you'd work on one element, you'd mask things out. And you could be tap, trying to get it done. No. Now you just hit the masking button, hit the plus symbol. So we're going to select the subject, we're going to select the sky, we can do a brush, we can do a specific color range, we can work in a luminance range, we can do all of that kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to select the sky first of all. So for my liking here, the sky's a little bit too bright. Now, if we didn't mask this, we couldn't really select just the sky. So I'm going to go to light, I'm going to bring down the exposure a bit. Next up, I'm going to go to effects, and I'm going to go to dehaze, which takes away that little bit of a haze. Then we're going to go to clarity, and that's going to give it a bit more clarity, right? Highlights, when it comes to skies, always drop the highlights if it's a very bright image, because you might, especially in RAW, you might recover some of the details in the sky, some of the stuff that you mightn't have even known that was there. You can bring down the whites. So as we can see, we're after going from the before now to this, so there's a little bit more definition to this stunning looking model, right? And we're still working in the mask. We can see in the bottom here, we're still on masking. So we're just concentrating on the actual sky here. We can make this really extreme if we want, but you don't want to look, you know, too unrealistic, as it were. I don't know why I did that. On the noise, you can bring it down, you can bring the sharpness down, which blurs it out a little bit. You can also jump back into effects and take the texture down. So we're giving less definition to the actual sky. Now, we're just hitting the plus symbol, boom. So we've made a huge difference already. So now I'm standing out a little bit more. But what if I want to work with me just some more? So I'm going to go back to masking. I'm going to hit the plus symbol again. And I'm going to select the subject. Off it goes, and literally that was in real time. It has selected me perfectly as the subject. So I can make myself a little bit more brighter if I want. I can bring down the highlights to bring some definition back to the brighter parts. I can go back in, add a little bit of clarity. I can change the color, the white balance. I can do whatever I want. And as you can see, and this is an extreme example, it's only affecting the parts that it has masked out. What we want to do here is take a look at the colors here as well, because this is where you can start defining your own look. So for the colors, we're just going to go for the whole thing right now. So I'm going to tap color. And by the way, there's a secret sauce in all of this, which all the pros use and very few people talk about it. And I'm going to get into that in a second. So what we want to do here, this is the kind of look that I like. I'm going to push the blues to a little bit more teal. I'm going to bring down the saturation because I kind of like that slightly less vibrant look, but maybe, you know, you want it brighter. This is the thing. By pushing these sliders around, you're going to actually figure out what you like and how to develop your style. So the greens, I like to desaturate the greens. I like to kind of make them dark. So the saturation is how kind of, you know, saturated, how colorful they are. The luminance is how bright they are. So you can see in the background there, they're changing. And I'm going to push them into the yellows a little bit more, which then leads me into the yellows, which I can desaturate a little bit more. I can push them into the brown a little bit more. I can change the luminance there if we want. So as you can see, we're really kind of starting to make me pop in the actual photo. Now, versus the background kind of being more of a distraction. So I'm gonna press done, and then here's the secret sauce, alrighty? Back into the light, back into the tab, the red channel in particular. This is a look that lots of your favorite YouTube creators like to use, and this is something that none of them talk about. None of them really give you this little tip until now. And I'm implying that I'm one of your favorite creators. Ego Vic, yeah. Here it is. Are we ready for the magic? So, shadows. This little one here that we've created 3 dots. So this is the shadows, this is the midtones, and this is the highlights. So I'm just gonna get rid of all these, bring them back. So tap, 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 shadows, midtones, highlights, alrighty? Bring your shadows down into the greens, into the blues, just a little bit. So the whole orange and teal look essentially, well, the teals really live in the shadows, and this is the best way to do it. It just gives you super control. You can make it as extreme as you want, but I find, depending on the photo, as subtle as you need. But we're not done yet. Let's go back and give us a little bit more definition. So back to masking. This thing is so powerful. I'm gonna go plus another mask. I am going to go select subject. Now it's gonna select me again, but this time I'm going to invert the mask, which means everything except me is going to be affected by any changes that I make. So I'm going to go down here to our detail. I'm going to bring down the sharpness, going to bring down the noise. Again, we want me to pop a little bit more. And then just ever so slightly, I'm just going to bring down the exposure so we can make it, see what's happening when we make it extreme? Yeah, no. So we can bring it up like this. As you can see, this is a pretty moody looking picture because I'm a moody guy. And that's pretty good looking for me, alrighty? Pretty good looking for me. Yeah. So we've gone from this to this. Now there's one last thing here that's really important when it comes to working with the subject in your actual photo. We're back into masking. And then I've got 1 or 2 little other tricks about color balance and stuff that I'll get into in a sec, but let's do one more mask. This is the Radial Gradient. Now there's another way of doing this, and I'm going to go to this one first, but for a quick fix, short and snappy, this one works really well. So we've got a linear gradient. And what we're doing is we're going to bring in a vignette. So we're going to kind of darken parts of the photograph, which helps bring focus to the actual subject. And as you can see, I go to light and I'm darkening myself. No. So what we got to do is go back to the mask and invert it. So we can adjust the mask here whatever way we want. And then let's affect the exposure. So as you can see, we're now drawing our eye completely in there. And then just to round things off, we can go into our crop depending on the photograph that you want. So 5:4, we can rotate it like this. So we've got a nice looking profile picture. Boom, simple, all right? Now you can go back into the color section here. We can adjust the white balance, which is how warm or cool the actual image is. You can have a little tint if you want to make things a little bit more greener, which again is adding to the mood, or you can have them, Here's the thing, right? If you push these to the extreme, it's just going to look awful, but keep that in mind. The other thing here, once you hit auto, it also brings the vibrance up a lot. So I find to bring the vibrance kind of back down, it hits it around 15 or 20, bring it back down. But again, here's the thing, this is up to you. This is what I like, and this is giving you the basics of what you need to do to make your photos pop. Then we can add some more clarity, which, can get a little bit extreme, or yeah, as you can see, subtle little tweaks. And then finally, sharpening, and then optics. Final thing, remove chromatic aberration, done. And depending on the phone that you have, you might have a little bit of a lens problem where it might be a little bulgy. Enable lens correction. As you can see, it's making just a subtle little bit of a difference here on this iPhone 13 Pro photo. And the final step then, the really last thing to get the maximum out of this picture, wherever you're going to put it, select the export up the top, alrighty. And then we're going export as. So not export to camera roll, not export to files, export as. And what we want to do is change the format so we can have a JPEG, a TIFF, or a DNG. I'm going to go with JPEG. Make sure the image quality is 100%, not 80%, not 90%, but we want this at 100% with the largest available dimension. So this is going to give the photo as big as it can be, maximum resolution and maximum quality. And then just press your tick, and that's it. You are done. Now, tell me in the comments, this wasn't easy to follow. I'm thinking just before you go and click out of this video, I'm thinking I would love to try edit some of you guys' photos. Now, if you're up for me editing some of your photos, let me know in the comments of this video. And then maybe we'll do a live stream doing all of this live, editing these photos on a phone or a desktop or wherever, as opposed to having some big, long edited video. So let me know in the comments if you'd like that, and I'll see you in the next video. And until then, thank you so much for your kind words and your support. I really, really appreciate it. See you in the next one. Don't stop fighting for yourself.